in full will be included in the hearing record. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questioning. So my first question is to Colonel Pensler. As chairman of the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, my utmost priority is ensuring the safety and well-being of our veterans. While I agree with your concerns about domestic violent extremism and the threat posed to our democracy, how does this issue affect the well-being of veterans?
Thank you, Chairman. You know, I think it's important to remember that we have a responsibility to our veterans who have served and many have risked their lives in combat around the world to defend our freedoms, to help their transition back into the civilian community, which is no small task, right? For a lot of veterans, it's a challenging experience to go from being in uniform in one culture to rejoining the civilian world and find, meaningful occupation, reestablish a sense of community, and build all that on a foundation of meaning. And so I think, when we look at this issue, one of the most corrosive things that comes with violent extremism trying to recruit veterans is a form of cancer within our body, within our community. And they lead a lot of veterans down the wrong path. And I think that's tragic, right? And I ask myself, how do veterans show up at the Capitol on January 6th and invade the building and despoil the very altar of our democratic republic? And, I think to myself, where do we go wrong? Where did the officers, my fellow officers, go wrong in failing to instill values, our core values in these individuals? And ultimately, now these young Americans are going to be, they're going to be charged, right? They're going to be prosecuted. Now their lives are, they're further put behind the 8 ball because of their actions that day. So I think it's tragic. And I think it's really destructive to our community.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that response. Dr. Miller Idris, the jurisdiction of this committee covers the full range of issues affecting veterans and their lives after they complete their service to our country. Our committee routinely holds hearings on critical issues such as veterans' health care, mental health, suicide prevention, employment, and homelessness. This issue, while very important, is a novel one before this committee. Can you explain to us how we should consider the threat posed to veterans by domestic violent extremism in the context of these other relevant issues?
Thank you for the question. Yes, my view on this is that what we're seeing with veterans is a manipulation of their values, of their interest, of their loyalty to the country by persuasive extremist tactics that deliberately target them for that manipulation. And so, as we just heard from Colonel Pensler, who said, where did we go wrong in failing to instill values? I would say, first of all, nobody went wrong in failing to instill anything, but I think values aren't enough. We also are obligated to teach people about the kind of manipulation that they will encounter or may encounter online. Many people will be naturally immune or resist that, but other people will be vulnerable to it. And it's our obligation, I think, to see part of our duty back to service members is to help equip them with the tools to recognize and resist that propaganda if it comes across their path, that we owe it to them.
Well, thank you, Dr. Miller Idris. Mr. Butler, I noticed that IAVA has partnered with Syracuse University to conduct your 11th member veterans survey from verified veterans, and that you included some questions about extremism. What are your members telling you in that survey?
Yeah, thank you, sir. They're telling us a lot. So this is the first time we've included this in there. And just for quick context, the survey is continuing to be ongoing. It's about 3,500 respondents that we've got so far. And an overwhelming, we have basically 3 questions that you're referring to. One was, do you think there's a serious problem with extremism in the military, in the post 9/11 veteran community, and have you personally witnessed extremism? And each one of those questions got over a third of the respondents saying that yes, they believe it exists within the military, they believe it exists within the veteran community, and they personally witnessed it. And those were 3 separate questions. So I think it really speaks to the fact that this is truly a problem, that it's not just those of us testifying here today, but it's the members of our community that are saying this is a problem and something needs to be done about it.
Well, Mr. Butler, I understand that it's an ongoing survey. You haven't fully gotten all the data in, but it is alarming to me that 1/3 of your members, who are our youngest generation of veterans, the post 9/11 or the Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, 1/3 of them have noted that they've either witnessed it, they see it as a problem, et cetera. So thank you for the work your organization is doing. I now want to recognize Ranking Member Boss for 5 minutes. Ranking Member?